This is the plaintiff, Jihad Simmons. He says he was all set to move into an apartment the defendants were renting. And then, on his move-in day, they told him he couldn't have the place because the previous tenants were still there, and it was no longer available to him. Huh? They can't get away with that, because he was all set to live there, for goodness sakes. Now he's having a god-awful time getting his security deposit back from the two-timers, and is suing them here and now for the $1,295.10 he's owed. This is the defendant, Audrey. She says the plaintiff was all set to move in, then informed her he was going to be bringing in two very large pit bulls. These dogs were 100 pounds each. He never even mentioned them when she agreed to rent to him, and she told him he was no longer welcome. She knows her rights as a landlord since she's been one for 42 years and owes the plaintiff zip. She's accused of not letting a guy in.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff says not only did the defendant refuse to let him move into the apartment he rented from her, she now refuses to return his deposit. But the defendant says the problem was the plaintiff wanted to move in with his two gigantic pit bulls. It's the case of I'll be doggone.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Jihad Simmons, you are suing Audrey and Harvey. You've asked us not to mention your last names for $1,295. Representing the return of your security deposit, plus bank fees, plus 3 days of lost wages in trying to battle this. Because according to you, they owe you the return of a security deposit when you couldn't move into an apartment through no fault of your own, you say.
Yes.
You tell me your side, I'll hear yours in a second. Go ahead.
Well, I spoke to her and her husband.
Did you know them from before?
Yes.
Okay.
I know them for previous years. I even bought my first car from them.
Okay, so you've known them for how long?
Since I was in high school,
okay.
I would say. So she told me they had a third floor apartment for rent, a 2-bedroom for $650. I said, all right. I said, can I bring my dogs? They said yes.
What kind of dogs did you have?
I have 2 pit bulls.
They said yes?
Yes, they said yes.
Did you say yes?
Your Honor.
Yes or no? Did you say yes?
No.
Okay. Did anyone say yes? Like, did your husband say yes? This is your husband or no?
No, ma'am.
No.
Okay. Who's this guy?
Super.
Okay. All right. Did somebody give it? Who, according to you, who said yes?
She said yes.
Okay.
They said,
according to you, you never said yes to 2 pit bulls.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
if she didn't say yes, I wouldn't have took the place. I wouldn't have agreed to move in. That's the only reason, because they said they would let me keep my dogs.
Okay.
Because I have a hard time everywhere else trying to move with them. They said yes. So we made the agreement. I gave her a $100 deposit. She gave me a $100 receipt. Then I gave her a $550 deposit the following weekend, and she gave me a receipt for that. Come to find out, the day of
Where were you living at that point?
With my mom.
And where were the dogs?
Out in Philadelphia where my father lives.
Okay. And why are they in Philadelphia?
Because they can't stay where I'm at. My mom landlord.
How long have they been with your dad in Philadelphia?
Maybe about 7 months.
Okay, so go on.
I gave her the $550 deposit. She gave me receipts for both. Come to move in, the apartment wasn't available. She said people still lived there. Now, I never did view the apartment, but I trusted her word, being that we never.
You were renting an apartment sight unseen?
I gave her just a security deposit.
Did you hear me? You were renting an apartment sight unseen?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I gave her the security deposit. I wanted to move in. I told her
How much money in total did you give her?
$650.
Okay. Did she return any of the money?
$100 in cash, and I gave her the $100 receipt back.
Okay.
And she gave me a $250 check, which bounced
Okay.
a few days after I deposited it into my account.
Did that check clear later?
No.
Okay. Now what's going on?
We were going to rent to him until the day before that he was supposed to give me the first month's rent. He says, oh, by the way, I have 2 pit bulls that's in Pennsylvania. And they're about 100 pounds. And where I live, you must have muzzles on those dogs. I've been there about 42 years. I have never, ever rented to anyone that had dogs, pit bulls. I do have a little Shih Tzu, a miniature.
Right.
But I'm the owner.
Right.
So I then went home and talked to my husband, and right away, I have that right.
Sure.
Before he stepped foot in that apartment, I just declined.
Well, you have the right because he was changing the game. If I believe your version, then you have the right. I mean, you can't just change it. I think you made a statement. I want to make sure that you're clear on this. In your answer to the complaint, you said, my understanding of the law is that I can change my mind about a tenant at any point before they move in. That's not the law. If you have a contract, you have to abide by the contract. But if somebody changes the game by telling you, oh, by the way, I have 2 100-pound pit bulls that are coming with me, then yes, you would have the right to say, oh no, that's a game changer. You're breaching our agreement because I'm renting to you, not to 2 pit bulls. And so no, you can't come in with your 2 dogs.
Right.
You tell me, well, Judge, that makes no sense. Why would I ever do that? Because I know I have problems, moving in somewhere with dogs. So I would have said something from the beginning, except for that the dogs aren't with you. So maybe it's quite possible you were going to rent, and then your dad says, I'm sick of these 200-pound pit bulls. Figure yourself out if you're getting an apartment, and now you got to get the dogs. Now you turn around. There's all kinds of scenarios. It is not inconceivable that this was a bomb you dropped at the last minute. Now, he says that you told him that the people weren't moving.
Your Honor, that apartment has been empty since 2010.
Okay, so now here we are. Clearly, you would owe him $550 if that check bounced. Did that check bounce?
No, Your Honor.
Well, he says, show me your bank paperwork. Show me your bank paperwork. According to his bank, your check bounced. Let me see your paperwork. Do you have the whole statement or just that piece of paper?
I just photocopied.
I need the whole statement. Do you have it or no?
Sir.
Okay, your statement says that the 250 was processed. His statement says it bounced. I need to see if in the rest of your statement that you're not showing me, it says that it bounced later. So I need the rest of your statement. I'm going to take a recess before I rule to give you a chance to get that online or however else you got to get it faxed to you here. Because otherwise I have no idea if you actually paid the $250. Okay. The fact that the check is here doesn't mean it wasn't reversed later when you dipped under the balance that you need to dip at and that you need to be at. But now tell me, because even if it's the 100 plus the 250, there would still be $300 missing. What's that about?
Prior to the renting or attempting to rent the apartment, Jihad came to my house for a whole week straight. He said, I need a loan. I said, what's going on? He had a Dodge Charger, I believe, and he was behind in car note. First, he said he needed $700. I said, nah, I can't do that. He said, what about $500? I loaned him $500.
How long ago was this?
Oh, we going on a year. So he did attempt to pay me back $200.
He did pay you back
$200.
Okay, so he still owed you $300 from previous
Right.
loan? What, did you owe her $300?
No, I don't owe her anything.
You paid the whole thing off?
I paid it all. We made an agreement. She wrote me a receipt saying that zero balance. I don't have it. I can't find it. But it's been over 2 years that this been going on. When I did owe her the money, she was hounding me.
Okay, but you know that's the reason, her whole defense to you is you owe me $300. And you didn't bring me anything to prove that you'd paid it? You could bring me the canceled checks. You could bring me receipts. You claimed she gave you a receipt. And you don't have that?
No, I don't.
Excuse me.
All right, I'm going to take a recess. You need to get your act together and get the rest of the statement so I can figure out if that $250 was paid or wasn't paid, okay? Court's in recess.
All rise. So suppose the lease says nothing about dogs, one way or the other. Do you have to disclose to your landlord that you're moving in with dogs?
I don't think so. I think if it's not in the lease, I don't think the burden is on the tenant to make disclosures.
What do you think?
I don't think so. I think it's not on the lease. Just move right in.
Does it matter to you that these dogs were 100-pound pit bulls?
Absolutely not. That has nothing to do with it.
So you could just move in?
You could just move in. It's not on paper. He shouldn't have to worry about it.
Interesting. Okay.
Please.
Going inside the courtroom.
Okay, had a chance to talk to your bank?
Yes.
And in fact, the check bounced?
It did bounce that day.
The rest of that statement would have said that, right?
I'm not sure.
Oh, I'm sure. Okay. It did bounce, and what were you going to say after that?
And had he redeposited?
That's not redeposit. Just don't bounce checks.
Okay.
He doesn't have to redeposit it. They charge him $35 every time you don't do what you're supposed to do. Why should he just risk it again? So without a doubt, there's no question you owe him $285. The question is, do you owe him those other $300? Your position is, I paid it all off. Her position is, Judge, I owe money, but not this $300 because he still owed it to me. when your defense is payment, that burden of proof in court belongs to you to prove you paid it. You, unlike other people, are apparently in a unique position to prove that because somewhere, had you bothered to find it, you have a receipt that, according to you, proves that you, in fact, paid it. I just got to figure out if you still owe her the money or not. And I find that you still owe her the money because you're not able to prove to me that you paid it off back then. So because of that, I find in your favor, for a net judgment of $285. Wait, why did you say your bank fees were $45?
They charged me
35 and then another 10. I did see
10,
that.
yes.
So that would be $295. I'm not going to order her to pay you lost wages on this kind of case. I find in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $295. Good luck, folks.
We'll see what the defendant thinks about the plaintiff. Come on in here. Collecting right over here, right up here. Collecting $295 against you in this case.
Oh, that's okay.
Why is that all
right? You just gotta screen your tenants or future tenants.
Yeah, don't go yet. Did you think what happened with the dogs? Do you think he didn't say anything, right? About the dogs.
I wouldn't have two pit bulls
I know.
in
Do you
my
think
house.
he tried to sneak him in past you at the last second, or
I don't
what
know.
do you
That's a good
why
question.
would he
You
show
should-
up with two pit bulls?
That's a good question
Well,
to
why do
ask
you
Mr.
think
Simmons.
he did show up with two pit bulls like that?
Well, it is what it is.
Thank
Look
you.
who we're dealing with.
Head right down there. Great. All right, so step on out here, sir. Are you satisfied how this thing comes out? You didn't
Not
get
really.
everything you sued for.
No, I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know what to say, It just...
If she okayed the dogs, why would she change her mind at the last second?
I have no idea. I don't know what to say.
All right, Harvey.
So it's not 100% clear on the duty of disclosure. I will say this, that when somebody moves in, you do have a duty to say who else is moving in with you if there are 2 or 3 other people. As for pets, frankly, I think judges could go either way on this thing. There are some judges that would say, hey, just like a person, you have to disclose a pet even if the lease is silent. By the way, you can check us out on Twitter and Facebook. People's Court, we're always here for you.